All right, ladies and gentlemen, gonna get started here in just a minute. Ba ba bee ba 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 boo. All right, just gonna go ahead and do a little live streaming here, discussion of board games. Let me just get get everything set up. Start inviting a few people, and we'll see what happens here. Do 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 do. Think we'll get started maybe around 6:30, maybe. We'll see. Ba 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 ba. All right. Got 5 people on here already. That's not bad. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Hey, let me know if you can hear me. I'd be very interested to know. Beard is on Cody. Looks good. 2 months. I got 2 months on this bad boy. That's coming off. Can't wait. So excited. Let me just get a few more invites out here on the socials. Didn't really plan this. This is just kind of a last minute kind of a thing. So let me just get this out here. Ba ba bee ba 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 boo. Today's the 18th of 26. Still getting used to typing 26. And it's so stupid on Facebook. Whenever I post anything, I can't. It won't put the link. Just when I put the link there, you can see it, but it won't link to it. So I always have to go through in the comments and do a link there. All right, but now we're on there as well. All right, thanks. Glad you can hear me. All right. Well, like I say, not a lot's going on. Probably just wait 2 or 3 more minutes before we get into it. See if we get anybody else joining us. But I hope you're all right out there in internet land. Um, well, you know what? Might as well just jump into it, get started. If people join us, they join us. If they don't, they don't. So it has been a long time. It's probably been a couple of years since I've done these Cody Q and A's. I used to, when I was in Wyoming, I used to try to do a live stream like once a week, and I play games. And then one of those nights, one of the weeks, I'd do a live stream, and I really enjoyed talking with people and kind of seeing what their thoughts were and what they were doing. And just so happened that I find myself home alone tonight, and I thought, you know what, I want to do one of these again. I want to talk to people. I want to see what their thoughts are on the state of the board gaming industry, what games they're looking forward to, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so I don't have any real plan or agenda here. I just thought we'd just talk about stuff we like coming up. First of all, though, maybe I want to talk about one thing in the industry that's kind of um, makes me a little afraid, as I'm sure some of you are as well, and that is the state of Come On and some of the uh, Kickstarters. I went all in for Deceased because I love Zombie Side, and I went all in for the Dune War for Arrakis Desert War expansion. They had sent me the review copy of the base game and one of the expansions. Uh, when it came out to review, but I kind of wanted to give that one to Ray because Ray loves the game as well. So I thought I'm just going to go and I'm going to buy everything with the new uh, um, expansions and what have you, and then I'm going to go ahead and give that copy to Ray because he does so much work for the channel. I pay him in games, and so yeah, I'm kind of scared about what's going on with Come On. I'm hoping I saw that that expansion, that Desert War expansion, is actually going to be coming out. I think probably within a month or so to retail. So I'm hoping they're able to fulfill that Kickstarter relatively quickly. I've seen some things that makes me think they are, but Deceased is kind of the one I'm really um, worried about because I love Zombicide so much, and I love Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies is my favorite iteration of Zombicide so far, and I'm excited to see what Deceased brings to the table. You know what? I got some more lights. I'm going to turn on some more lights. So, what about you guys? Did any of you back either of those or anything else from Come On that has got you a little worried? Oh, it's 1:30 in UK here. Well, that there we go. Now that's better. That's nice and brighter. I hopefully you can see my pretty face here. You did back Dune. Are you Lord Jareth? Are you concerned about that? Is that something you're a little bit worried about? Or are you cool? You think it's going to fulfill okay? I mean, my feeling is if if Come On were to declare bankruptcy or something, then hopefully through some sort of bankruptcy agreement, they'd still have to fulfill it. But who knows? Or maybe some other company pick it up. Fantasy Flight's obviously picking up a lot of stuff. They picked up Zombicide, so I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. Um, I was calling on DC United trying to think about it. Yeah, yeah. So hopefully it works out. Um, that's Lord Jareth. I try not to worry about things that are out of my control. I suspect this is an IP game, so there'll be external pressure. You're right. You're right about both of those things. You shouldn't dwell too much on them. And frankly, with crowdfunding, we are assuming risk. I mean, we are. eh, Granted, the risk generally has been pretty small over the years, but there is risk there, and we've seen some games just crash and burn so badly. Um, Gosh, I miss the better days of FFG 10 years or so ago. Yeah, me too. I mean, FFG in its heyday, that one really one of the reasons why I entered the larger world of board gaming from just kind of wargaming was FFG, right? I played Battlestar Galactica and I'm like, oh, board games can do this. And so I owe FFG a lot, and they were a fantastic company back in the day. And I must confess, even though they've retreated from kind of the quantity of games they put out. They do manage to surprise me. I didn't see Prophecy of Kings coming. I didn't think they were going to do big expansion like that for Twilight Imperium, and then Thunder's Edge. I had no idea they were doing Thunder's Edge. That really surprised me. I just put up my review for Thunder's Edge today, and then they did Unfathomable, and then an expansion for Unfathomable, and the expansion for Star Wars Outer Rim. So they've actually still surprised me. They still put out good stuff, just not the quantity, but the games they put out are still really good. And I wish they'd do more, but I'm glad they're still a contender. I don't write them off by any means there. Um, uh, let's see. Start playing Combat Commander. Wow, it's so good. What's a newish war game that you'd recommend? Golly, I don't know. I just got the Combat Commander Mediterranean 20th anniversary, and I haven't played it yet. Um, Ray and we'll get that to the table before too long because he really wants to play it, and it's fantastic. It's such a good game. Um, let's see. Yeah, let alone Thunder's Edge, right? Uh, They had some amazing IPs and designs at their height. TI4, of course, is still wonderful, and Unfinished Business for Outer Rim is also great, and that was fairly recent. Yeah, so I mean, I had kind of written off FFG a few years ago, and I won't do that now. They're not, as I said, they're not what they were in terms of um, quantity, but they're still bringing it. And then, of course, they're doing I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one with the it's the one that is I think it's almost kind of like a print on demand thing where they're going to bring back some of their older games. I think that's awesome. I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And then where they did get IPs like Zombicide and Cthulhu Death May Die, we'll see how they support those and how they run with those, and we get some hopefully we get some good ideas there as well. But yeah, so Come On, and Come On has always just had a special place in my heart because of some of the great games they've done. And I don't know, we may be seeing, Come On kind of retreat from just the consistency of what they did the way FFG has. I hope Command doesn't go away. I hope they're still around in some form or another. I just played Cthulhu Dark Providence. I'll probably have my review for that up before too long. So um, I don't know. I would hate to think something like that is its last hurrah, but we'll see. Uh, we'll see about that. What's another game I'd recommend? Another war game. So we've been playing. My group's been playing coin games recently, and I just started playing coin games last year. And we played one the other night. It's another one I'll have a review up before too long. But Werewolf from Legion Games. It's not a GMT game. It's a Legion Games. Hello for the Philippines. Hello to the Philippines. Thank you for joining us. Um, but Werewolf is awesome. Werewolf is it's about the It's kind of an alternate history about the insurgency in Germany, the werewolf units. What if they were more active? But then you have another kind of insurgent force, the Edelweiss movement, and then of course you have the Soviets and the Western Allies, and it was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one quite a bit. When are you going to play Crusade and Revolution? Oh yeah, I got to get that played. I got to get that played. That's been on my shelf for a while now. I really need to get that played. Cross Bronx Expressway, yes, another one I've gotten played. Hopefully I'll have my review up for Cross Bronx Expressway in a couple weeks. Fun game. Which do you prefer, playing an old favorite or trying something new? Oh, well, I mean, gun to my head, I love playing old favorites, games that I love. I just don't get the time, but it's always a lot of fun. Sometimes my wife and stepdaughter will be here, and I'll pull out something I haven't played in a while, and the three of us will play. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a good game. But that's honestly at this point, that's pretty much my diet of going back and replaying games. I usually have to play, these new games either the first or second time or third time to kind of get them down, and that takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Um, my wife brought Fire in the Lake for Christmas. I haven't played Fire in the Lake. I've heard that one's like a heavier one, so I'm kind of building up to that one, but we'll see. Best recent coin game for me is Red Dust Rebellion. I liked Red Dust Rebellion. It was a little too much. I actually gave that to Ray because he wanted to play it solo. So we'll see what he thinks. But I don't know. I think it was just a hair too much for me. I liked it, but it was just a bit too much for me. You can see my review and what I think for that. But it's a good game. I'm not saying it's not a good game. It's a very good game. I've been playing BattleTech Alpha Strike. It's a blast. Much easier to teach than 40K. Much cheaper too. I know Ray used to be a huge BattleTech guy. In fact, I think he stopped going to BattleTech when he started playing games with me, if I remember correctly. But he was a big BattleTech guy. He loved BattleTech. Um, CBE is just a few miles away. Okay. Do you like confusing rules that waste time and leave you frustrated? Yes, I do. It's my jam. Confusing rules, frustration is the delight of the hobby. Uh, how many does Werewolf play? Are there any Coin-S games that play 5? I'm not aware. I don't think so. Um, Werewolf it's 4. It plays up to 4. You can bot some of the factions. I know, as far as I know, you've got like the British Way, which is 2. Robin Hood, which is coin adjacent, which is 3. A guest of Robin Hood, and then you've got like People Power and Cross Bronx Expressway that are 3. But I don't know that I've ever seen a coin that goes to 5. It could be. Um, the print on BGG is too small. Eye strain. We were playing a game the other night, and it was a great game, but we were just had to put the counters right up to our eyes. We're getting too old. Um, are you reviewing Hubris by GMT? I got a copy of Hubris. They sent me a copy, and I think Ray did the unboxing. I think we put the unboxing up a while back, but it'll probably be a little while before I can get to it. I'm interested in it. I think it looks pretty good. It also looks pretty heavy, so I gotta psych myself up for it and my gaming companions. But yeah, I think we'll probably hit Hubris at some point. Uh, it looks good. I mean, GMT don't make crap, and so I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Has anybody, like I said, I just put up my have you tried Blood on the Clock Tower? No, that's actually one I've wanted to play. I've heard it's good. Have you played it? I've heard that's a really good game, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. We missed you at Battlefront Dayton, Ohio, Cody. I had never been to any convention. It was hosted by Board Games Nation. It was incredible. Played and hung out with Larry Harris and Matt Hyra. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't do a lot of conventions. In fact, I did before I moved to Texas, the 3 or 4 years before I moved to Texas, I went to SaltCon in Utah, and that was like the only one I'd ever been to. And then last March, my wife and I went to Circle DC, which was incredible, and I met some people in person I'd always wanted to meet, and some designers and publishers and board game personalities, and it was so cool to actually be in that place and meet those people and have those experiences, and I'd love to do that again. But I'm a humble educator, so I'm not made out of money. So I don't know. I'm probably not going to be able to go to Circle DC again this year, which is a shame because I'd really like to. I'd like to go to that one again. And there's others I've always wanted to go to. So I don't know. We'll see if it happens. I played it, but not too often due to the availability of people. I hosted it. It was successful each time. Oh, that's good. That's good. I've heard nothing but good things about it. It looks like a great game. I need to be more active in trying to seek that one out because I think it looks fantastic. Um, you know, Speaking of GMT games and Coin, they've always got a lot of interesting stuff on the horizon. I know they got an expansion coming out for I Napoleon, which was I thought a really fun and unique solitaire game that I liked a bit. So I'm interested in that. And they've got a few other games on the horizon. I'm really looking forward to as well. You're a busy man too. Education is so important. Thank you for teaching. Oh well, thank you. Yeah, I enjoy it. Almost ashamed to admit this, but I think being a frustrated actor, one of the reasons why I became a college professor is because I like to have a captive audience. And it was funny because when I was in school working on my master's degree, the theater I performed at, there was some talk that they might sell that theater, and I was terrified. I was thinking, oh no, this theater is so much part of my life, my identity. And then I got my master's degree and I started teaching, and then I was like, yeah, I've got an audience. I've got that covered. So it was less important to me. But and I used to do a lot of plays and improv, and it's been a while since I've done that stuff, which is too bad. What is a coin game? Coin means counterinsurgency, and coin games. So I read last year. I read Max Boot's Savage Wars of Peace, which were about small wars in American history. These were small asymmetrical wars where they were often kind of guerrilla campaigns and other things were going on, but they weren't big wars, lines on a map like the American Civil War or World War One or World War Two. They're kind of these wars where you don't know exactly who you can trust and what you have to do. So coin, and those wars are far more common. It's far more common in history to have these kind of smaller counterinsurgency wars than big lines on a map wars. And so what a coin game does is it actually takes that concept and it puts it into board game form so that you've usually got, like I say, 3 or 4, sometimes 2 players, and they're each factions. It's asymmetrical. They do different things. They have different actions they can take. And there's this great system for exactly who can go when, and you can play event cards or take actions. Sometimes you take small actions, sometimes you take big actions, sometimes multiple actions, and you just have to play them to understand them. And they came out about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, and I was terrified of coin. I just thought, oh, that looks just so over my head. And I looked at them and stuff. I thought they sounded fun, but I was like, I'm just never going to be able to do that. I have the time and the patience to learn it, really. And finally, I think it was GMT sent me The British Way. And then right after that, I think it was Robin Hood. And I remember I played those and I just fell in love with both of them. I'm like, what am I missing here? And so we played, about a year ago, maybe, Cuba Libre, which I loved. I was like, this game is awesome. So we played a few, like we said, we played Red Dust Rebellion, played Liberty and Death not too long ago. Um, well, what else? I can't remember. Yeah, People Power. Um, so they're fun, and I'm looking forward to playing more and more and more of them. Have you steered students toward historically themed games? Yeah. So what I do is every semester with all my classes for extra credit, we have a board game night, and I pick there's about 5 or 6 games that I select and I kind of assign people, and then we have a lot of fun, and it's just a great way for them to earn extra credit, me to get a board game fix. Usually I'm not playing, sometimes I do, but usually I'm kind of hovering, teaching games and what have you. But we've done the last few times. One of the games we've done that's been a big hit is we played the Overlord Memoir 44 with 8 players. And the first time we did it, I only had 6 students, and so Ray and I were the Overlord commanders. The last time we did it, we had a full crew of 8 students, and it was awesome. And I cannot wait to do that again. That is such a good game. In fact, this semester I'm going to be teaching my World War II class again, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. That should be a lot of fun. Um, Let's see. I hope you can redo your best Napoleonic games. But you know what? I'm planning on that. There's actually I got a couple of Napoleon games I still want to play that I have on my shelf. Uh, uh, when I get those played, I am planning on revisiting Napoleonic. I was actually just looking, saying it's been like 3 or 4 years since I did my best Napoleonic game, so I'm planning on bringing that back. Yeah, with Forge Games, D-Day Dice have permission to produce Heroes of the Pacific. They will give previous backers the game. They'll just have to pay the post. You'd have to talk to them. I don't know what the legal arrangements are there or what have you. I haven't played Heroes of the Pacific. I know that was the Kickstarter one that they kind of went under, right? Yeah. So I played Heroes of Normandy, but anyway. Yes, he could have review all of his Napoleonic games, but the worst of them gets exiled. That's right. A little corner of my room I call St. Helena, right? I have a vague idea for a game, a warish game. I have no idea how to go about developing it. Want to partner? I would, but I'm trying to develop my own games, and between teaching and the channel, I just don't have the bandwidth for it. I'm so sorry. Here's what I do. Uh, Somebody gave me a great piece of advice. Was it? I think it was Maury Suckling. He told me. I think it was Maury Suckling, but he told me when you're developing a game, start with the player aid. Right before the rule book, write out a player aid. And the player aid, should be simple enough that it's quickly readable and digestible, but also it's complex enough that it tells you what the basic rules of the game are, and you start there. So you want to go ahead, start with player aid, maybe build a basic prototype, start some rules, and then it's just really a matter of contacting people, contacting the companies that you think might be interested in it, that maybe produce similar games or games in those genres, and making it work. But best of luck to you. Keep me posted with that. Um, Very excited to receive Imperial Borders. Should be shipping in February. Larry talked about his frustration regarding the shipping delays on that due to tariffs. Bummer for the industry. Yeah, it is a bummer, but I'm looking forward to Imperial Borders too. I mean, it sounds like such an interesting idea too. It's almost, I guess, an alternate history thing where the Congress of Vienna breaks down, and you've got war between the powers. I think that sounds like such an interesting idea. And where War Room was amazing, the production of that game, the gameplay is amazing. War Room is my favorite game of all time. I've been excited about Imperial Borders since they first announced it, so we'll see how that plays out. Really excited about it. Any chance you do some videos on the Ukraine war on your other channel, parallels to World War II strategy and Ukraine battles would be interesting. I'd really like to. I think what's going on in Ukraine is, I mean, from a purely detached point of view, is fascinating. It is the largest war in Europe since World War II. Um, it's horrifying and it is scary, but it's fascinating. And yeah, I'd like to. I just again, I don't know that I have the bandwidth, and maybe at some point if I can find some time to do that, maybe I would. But I'm also one thing I'm also doing is I'm rewriting my dissertation to try to get that ready to send to a publisher. Um, Hoping that works. And then I got another book I'm working on behind that. So those are kind of my priorities. My channels are kind of my hobby. But we'll see. Maybe I could do something like that at some point. We'll see about that. Devil Pig will honor your pledge. Confirmed. Oh, that's good. I'm glad they're taking care of you. Not a question, but thank you for your contribution to this hobby. You are one of my most trusted reviewers. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Every now and then I get a comment from somebody or an email from somebody and that says something like that. And gosh, I appreciate that. That means the world to me. Thank you so much. It's just, what we do here with this channel and this hobby is kind of thankless. I do get free games, which is nice. And I do get a little bit of change from YouTube, which is nice. but I do it because I love it. I do it because I love the interaction. I love the games, and so thank you very much. Really, that means a lot to me. Second, the Ukraine war would be very interesting topic to hear you discuss. Well, we'll see what happens. Um, have you ever made your own game, or have you ever thought about making your own game? Yes, I have. In fact, when I was at Circle DC in last March, that's what I was doing. I was discussing it with Four Circle Games. It's a slow process. Hopefully, we'll see some movement on it, but heaven willing, we'll see if anything comes from that. So, yeah. Oh, of course, I think anybody that plays games has thought about at least once or twice making their own game for sure. And I've been working on this design since about 2012. So no rush as far as I'm concerned. Thoughts on the new Phalanx book game, Bridge Too Far? I'm waiting for mine, but I think you liked it. Ditto from Austin on enjoying your channel. Thank you. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Like I said, I did my review. Like I said in my review, I always love choose your own adventure books, and this is really a choose your own adventure book with some dice rolling and skills tests and combat. I think there were once or twice there were some of the combat scenarios were a little unclear. There were a few things that were a little unclear of, but very minor problem. I think generally it was just a lot of fun. It was a great kind of throwback, and I really hope we see more companies, Phalanx or other companies, do stuff like this, do these kind of book war games that are kind of these narrative, almost novel adventures or short story adventures for each scenario. Really, really fun. I got a kick out of it. Is Baltic Empire's Northern Wars of 15 on your radar? No, it's not on my radar. Who publishes it? If you're ever in Kansas City, I'd be more than happy to introduce you to Memoir 44's D-Day landings in full. Yeah, I have no plans to be in Kansas City anytime soon. I drove through Kansas City once, but I never didn't stop in it. Spent some time in Independence, Missouri. That is actually I stopped long enough to see Spider-Man: Far From Home in Independence, Missouri, and then I kept driving. Um, what's it going to be about? I don't know. What going to be about? It's huge. I've done the big Memoir 44 D-Day landing games on the breakthrough maps. It was super fun. Yeah, it is. It's a great time. Have you had much experience with pen and paper role playing games? No, I don't. I years ago when I was like 11 or 12, my friend Stan bought a copy of the Batman role playing game, and we I think both just assumed it was kind of like a conventional board game, and he we got it and we tried to read through it and we didn't understand it at all, and we gave up on it after about an hour or so. And then a few years later, I was at bookstore at the mall, and they had this Star Trek role playing game. And I was thinking, no, it's a role playing game. I had a bad experience once. Should I try it? And I went ahead and I got it. Brought it home and looked at it. And again, I didn't understand it. I really needed someone to teach me the basic concepts. And so I've just never really been one for role playing. I think if I were to get into role playing, there's a few things that look good. Like I could see myself maybe doing the Arkham Horror one that FFG does, or the Fantasy Flight, or sorry, the Twilight Imperium one that they do, or the uh, Star Wars one that they do. I think it'd be fun. And then I know the GI Joe one from Renegade. I think sounds like that'd be pretty fun. But I don't think I'm. I don't know. I don't think I've got enough of a desire to learn. Maybe one day we'll see what that happens. When do you start your beard grooming channel? Beard's going away. 2 months and it's gone, and I can look like myself again instead of Grandpa Cody. So excited. 2 months. Um, how many copies do you need to play Memoir 44? For the Overlord, Brian? The Overlord, you need 2 copies, and I actually had my original copy, and I had bought a second copy, and then I actually just got the new uh, was it refresh version. So I've got my 2 original copies in a crate with all my stuff that I need to play Overlord in there. So I just take the crate whenever I'm going to play the Overlord. campaign and or the Overlord scenario, and that's usually what I do there. I'd like to play some more of the Overlord stuff, maybe get more expansions to help support that, but we'll see. Um, what's your game going to be about? Might be what they meant. Oh, well, I've talked about it before briefly, but it's kind of based on the Congress of Vienna. It's a negotiation game. It's I kind of like to think of it as the Ticket to Ride of negotiation games. It's not too heavy, but every time I played it, and I like I say, when I was at Fort Circle DC, I had a lot of people whom I respect, a lot of designers that I respect played it, and they all really enjoyed it. So hopefully something will come of it before too long. Will you do a top 10 of 2025? Yes, yes. Ray and I are planning on that. I'm just waiting because there are still a few games I want to play that are 2025 games that I want to play before I get that list done. And it seems like there's always more, you know. So, but at some point, I'm just gonna say, screw it, we're moving on it. So I got to play a few more games, and then we'll go. Um, I was asking what your game is going to be about. Okay. If you're interested in the Civil War at all, we have the Battle of Lone Jack here. It's the battle in which John Wayne's character lost his eye in True Grit. It's very cool. Uh, wow, it's a table hog. My copy is still in shrink. Yeah, it's memoir. You're playing memoir. Yeah, a lot of table space. I think you're interested in acting, possibly combined with history. Might work well with role playing. It's funny, board games and role playing games are hobby adjacent, but that's not true for everyone. Yeah, no, I think that's true. Um, I think, I think from a lot of people that play role playing games too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like they play the campaigns and like they get together every night and kind of keep moving forward with the same characters and stuff like that. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of campaigns. Um, I've played a few and I've had fun with them and I like them, but I don't. I like the variety of playing different games, you know. And every time I've done a campaign, it seems like I get about halfway through it and it's a bit of a slog. And the only exception to that, the only campaign where I haven't felt that way is Undaunted Stalingrad. And yet my wife and I have been dragging our feet. I was hoping to play some games of it, maybe finish it over Christmas, and we didn't get a chance to. But that's a game I really, really want to finish with her because I'm not tired of it, and I'd like to revisit it again. But generally, campaigns, yeah, they're a bit of a slog for me most of the time. Um, do you know any comedy games? I know plenty of comedy games, improv comedy games. I don't know any comedy board games. I probably played some, but what's up, Cody Carlson, PhD? I'm sorry for sending you a mean comment recently. Okay. I don't recall what that mean comment was, but you're forgiven. It's all good. Um, I get plenty of mean comments. So I did that playing through World War II video here a couple days ago, which I was really excited about. You know, I thought it was just something a little bit different and something kind of fun. And I got a lot of people that really seemed to like it. They really seemed to have fun with it and seeing the different games and kind of playing through it. But there were a few people that were less than pleasant. Um, I didn't get the hate that I've gotten on similar videos before. Like I said, I did that first World War II, my top 10 World War II games when I was in Texas. This is like 5 or 6 years ago, and I probably got more comments on that than any other video I've ever posted. And I'd say about half of them, people were just ready to tear my lungs out. And it kind of brings up an interesting thing because a lot of people, their attitude is if it's not a hex encounter game, it's not a war game. And there's that question that needs to be asked. Well, what is a war game? I did my top, I was doing the top 50 GMT games, and in my top, the last part of that, I actually said, somebody commented and they said, in the last 20 or whatever, there were only one or two real war games. Think about it. I don't think, well, what do you need to think about? But then also, too, I was thinking, well, wait a second, what is a real war game? Now, I'm assuming he means a hex and counter war game. What a narrow definition. What a limiting idea. I think I'm still looking for that perfect definition of a war game. Is it just simply a game that thematically revolves around war, or is it a game that you have to have some kind of combat mechanism? Uh, is it a game that has to simulate combat? I mean, can you have a war game that is not about combat? You know, um, that still maybe thematically is from the war. What is a war game? It's a question I'm still wrestling with. I've actually thought about doing a video on that topic, but the more I think about it, the more frustrated I get. So I don't know. Internet anonymity makes folks real brave. You're right. It does. It does. And there's a lot of a-holes out there. Far more really awesome people. Really awesome people. So let's see. Find CV to be comedic. Have you ever played Shogun Samurai Sword Yakuza? When I was like 12, no, younger than that, maybe. No, I was probably about 12, 13 or so. My neighbors had a copy of the Milton Bradley Game Master Shogun. We played that, and I remember thinking it was okay. I wasn't in love with it, but I'm eager to see the kind of the new version that Renegade's going to come out with. I think that'll be pretty cool. Um, what one game would you recommend about air combat besides Undaunted? I It's really simple, but I liked Fighters Over Europe and Fighters Over the Pacific. Really super simple games. They almost feel more like abstracted chess games, but I really like that. I like Aces of Valor by Legion Games, which is a great solitaire World War One airplane game. Was a lot of fun. I like Wings of Glory. I like the little minis and stuff like that. In fact, we're going to be doing some reviews of some Wings of Glory stuff here before too long. I really like that. Um, it's a fun airplane game is Sky Team. It's not a war game, but it's a fun dice cooperation game. I really like Sky Team quite a bit. War of the Ring. It's in the title. Ah, yeah, War of the Ring. I like uh, I like Star Wars Rebellion a lot, and I like Dune Warfare X a lot, and they're often both compared to War of the Ring. And I've talked about this before. I played War of the Ring like briefly and incompletely, and I got to give it another shot at some point. I've heard that whole thing. Most common one is I see externalities isn't a war game. Like, yeah, sure, it's a beer and pretzels game and a war game. Venn diagram. Yeah, good point. Good point. Best game ever. Uh, Dance for my stupid brain, and I don't have time to play them. I know we had some words over that World War II video recently, but I hope you didn't have a negative takeaway from that. I usually don't. I've learned to read comments to give the person writing the benefit of the doubt. And I think you have to do that or you're just going to get pissed off all the time. And so some people may say things that maybe come across as contrary, which is fine. And I don't mind criticism. It's when people call me names or have some little super snide remark or something. Those things, that's what I get upset about. And when I say upset, it pisses me off. But when people are just saying, "Well, what about this?" We're like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's fair." I don't have a problem with that. Um, well, that was really a good that World War II story timeline. I thought you left out Duel in the Dark. Yeah, I never played Duel in the Dark though. I've heard great things about Duel in the Dark. That was one I actually saw at Game Store for years. I thought about buying it, and then it wasn't there anymore, and then I kind of regret not buying it. But yeah, I've heard great things about it. Does war game need to be defined? Are game genres ever static? I say that because ultimately it's less about the genre and more about what's actually fun. I entirely agree with you. I think that's an entirely fair and good point. But the fact of the matter is, so many people, excuse me, so many people, um, kind of need those labels, right? Or they consider themselves war gamers. And is this a war game? Is it not a war game? And and again, I have a lot of people that call me a war gamer, and that comes with a certain kind of stigma or set of expectations. If I'm a war gamer, then I don't play Euros or I don't play kind of other kind of Ameritrash games. I just play war games, and that's not the case. I'm an Omni gamer. Um, so I don't know. Labels are helpful, for organizing things. But you make a very good point. Uh, New Memoir 44, new air plan. Yeah, there you go. Uh, Ever since playing Sky Team, I've been terrified to fly until I remember real pilots can actually talk to each other, right? Yeah, my brother was a captain for US Air and then American for years, so I've never, I think whenever I get to a plane and you have that kind of moment of like, "Ah, we're gonna crash," I just think to myself, my brother's has, what, 30,000 hours flying these things, and he never crashed in his career, so I'm not too worried about something like that. Fun game though. Sky Team's great. Most times I leave a comment is when I drink is when drinking. Well, all right, if that's fun for you. Yeah, I don't know. I getting back to this idea of war games, do they have to be labeled? Well, it's funny because there's so many games like, if you look at like Race to Moscow by Phalanx, I mean, clearly it's a war game in the sense that you are moving military units forward, you are engaging in kind of a card kind of campaign or card combat rather. And so, I mean, clearly it's a war game, and yet it's not you fighting against the historical enemy, it's you competing against the other generals. It's very much a Euro game. So is it kind of both? Does it fall into both camps there? Undaunted for that matter. Is Undaunted a war game? Um, yeah, I don't know. Interesting questions. I always laugh my butt off when people thought about Twilight Struggle not being a war game. Anyone read the cover says Cold War. Yeah, I know. I did a few years ago. I did a thing where I did was it like top 10 historical games that are not war games, and I had Twilight Struggle on there. I got a lot of flack for that, and I actually talked to Jason Matthews, and he said, "Well, the like I think he said like the War College or something considers it a war game." So I'm like, all right, it's a war game. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting idea there. Have you played Speakeasy? I have not. I've heard it's a good game, but I have not played it. Have you? It's good. Do you have any rondel type of game navigator? I don't have a lot of rondel games. I had First in Flight. I think I ended up giving that to Ray. It's a pretty fun kind of deck building game, but there's a rondel idea in there. Uh, there's that one that AEG did, that one science fiction one that was pretty fun. It's not my favorite mechanic. I don't actively dislike it, but it's just not nothing that really super draws me there. Undaunted is a deck builder. When I think of deck builders, I think of deck builders primarily as being just the card game, like the DC deck building game or Legendary or whatever. And I kind of see a game like Undaunted as a board game that has deck building in it. I don't see it as a deck building game. Rather, I see it as a board game with deck building in it. And again, that brings us back: is this board game a war game? Right? That's just my opinion here. I know a war game when I play it. I don't have a definition, however. Yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that. Is there conflict? It could be called war. Fair enough. Is Root a war game? I've never played Root. I've heard it's a coin game. Is it a war game? You tell me. Um, what's a game released in the past 2 to 3 years that you feel doesn't get enough love, attention from the masses? Uh, I think it was released in 21, so a little bit outside that, but the GI Joe deck building game. I love that game so much. And I think a lot of people stay away from it if they're not familiar with the IP. But man, it's just such a fun game. I love the GI Joe deck building game. Uh, what else doesn't get enough love? Um, oh, that's a good question. Gosh, I'd have to think about that. Yeah, GI Joe deck building game is probably my favorite game that I think does not get enough love from most people. But I thought Star Trek Away Teams was really fun, and that a lot of people didn't like that. I know Tom Vazel was kind of down on that one, so I don't know. A conflict is not a war. A war is officially declared from one governing. Not necessarily. There have been plenty of wars throughout history where you didn't have a declaration. I mean, we fought in Vietnam, Korea. Oh, people are mentioning it right here: Korea, Vietnam, and like I mentioned earlier in this video, this idea of kind of savage wars of peace. America's had tons of small little wars without any formal declaration. I mean, look at what just happened in Venezuela. You could say that was an act of war, right? But there was no declaration. So, Burning Banner is a war game. I would say yes, but it's completely fictional. So tend to think the definition is less important. Another game, but yeah, I love Burning Banners. I think it's absolutely a war game. There's no question in my mind. It doesn't matter that it's fictional. a war game doesn't have to be historically based. I think Space Empires 4X, it's a 4X game, but it's really a war game, right? In my opinion, I don't think at all you need to be. We played the other night. It was kind of a semi-cooperative Struggle for Zorn from Blue Panther, which is an amazing fantasy war game. Really enjoyed that. Let's see. Uh, Actually, Tom V often likes games I do not like. Yeah, and I'm there. Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, every now and then, I really like Tom's reviews. I really do. I like whenever there's a game I'm interested in. I always say, well, does Tom have a review up for it? Because I like to know what he has to say about something. Because I find even if I disagree with him, he will make a point or explain something that I appreciate. So you know, and that's not just true of Tom. There's other reviewers out there that I'm not really on the same page with, but as far as tastes, but I think they do a good job. I think Z does a good job with that. Um, so there's a lot of people out there that do that. Yeah, Space Empires 4X is fantastic. We just reviewed that and all the expansions, and I love it. I love Space Empires 4X. One of my favorite games. It really is. In fact, I was thinking after I played through all the expansions, the next time I do my top 100 games of all time, which may be coming this year, I'm eager to see where that one falls because it's really a lot of fun. Where do you get your dad jokes from? The ether, wherever I can find them. Honestly, if I find if I understand the game, it becomes a keeper. Maybe it's because they were expensive when I was younger. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to keep a game I don't get. I don't grok. So sure, yeah. That might be two. That might be two games that do not get enough love. Burning Banners and Space Empires 4X. They both do what they do so well from a design standpoint. Amen. I love both of those games so much. I think they are so much fun in their own way. They're very different games, but they both just bring so much to the table, and I love them both a lot. Um, You play any more Star Trek Captain's Chair after your initial review? That game is pretty dang good. Yeah, I I bought that like in 2012, and I played it a lot, and then I didn't play it forever, and then I got it out because I wanted to review it, and so my uh, now wife, then girlfriend, we played it, and I don't know if I've played it since. And that's when I know I've got to play with Ray at some point because Ray really wants to play it. So we need to get that one out and play. Maybe he can review it on his channel. We'll see if that happens. Um, are 4X games not considered war games? Well, that's again another question. Is I mean, most 4X games they have the conflict or the what is it called, the exterminate. So there's a war element in there, sure, but does that in and of itself make it a war game? Like if I look at Clash of Cultures, there's combat in that, but is Clash of Cultures a war game? I would say not really. I would say it has war elements in it, but it's a 4X game. Whereas Space Empires 4X, I would say it's both a 4X game and a war game. It's distinctions, and everybody's going to have their own definitions. So, have you ever played Talon again? I thought I'd love it, but I ended up giving. Oh, it's too bad. Yeah, I played. I haven't played it. It's been a little bit since I played it, but I really like Talon. I thought it was fun because I really like Star Wars Armada. Like I love Star Wars Armada, but it's such a and I haven't played it in years because it's such a bear getting into the table. And so Talon to me feels a lot like Star Wars Armada, of course, without the thematic stuff, Star Wars. But it plays very similarly, and it's much easier to set up and take down. So yeah, I like Star Wars Armada, or I like Talon. Yeah. What's your favorite Star Trek game? Fleet Captains, hands down. Fleet Captains. There's a lot of great Star Trek games. I like Ascendancy. I like Captain's Chair is awesome, and I like the away teams that I mentioned. I even really like the Star Trek Catan. There's a lot of great Star Trek games out there, but far and away, Fleet Captains I think is the best, and it's a shame. I don't think it's I don't think it's in print anymore. I would love to see Star Trek Fleet Captains back. I would love to see that one back. It's so good, so much fun. Uh, Captain's Chair didn't come out in 2012. It came out last year. Oh, I meant Fleet Captains. Sorry, Fleet Captains came out in 2012. Um, or 2011, 2012, right around there. Yeah. But Captain's Chair is fun. Captain's Chair is I haven't, I did it for the review. I think maybe I played it once or twice after, and I haven't. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving parts of that game, so that's kind of a hard one to get at the table. But I want to play that one again. It's a lot of fun. How much do you like negotiation games? My favorite mechanic. I absolutely love negotiation. The negotiation. You look at a game like Twilight Imperium, which is always one of my favorite games. I love the negotiation in that game. War Room, you have to negotiate with your allies about what you're going to do. I love that. So that's the thing I like about team games. But even Catan, where you're negotiating for resources, I like. As I mentioned, the game I'm working on developing is a negotiation game, and it's because I love it. I love that sort of thing. Um, I find negotiation to be hit or miss for me. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the game, but I mean, just generally speaking, I enjoy it. Cody, I have the two Halloween board games. They're both a lot of fun. I think, gun to my head, I like the second one better than the first one, but I actually just put them all in one box. But I really like them. Great. I love Hidden Movement. I think Hidden Movement's a really, really fun genre. Fury of Dracula is still my favorite Hidden Movement game of all time. But I really had fun with the Halloween games. They are, I think, just great. Really liked them. It's more of a minis game than a board game, but if you like Star Trek Fleet Captains, you might like Attack Wing. Oh yeah, I played Attack Wing. I used to have a lot of Attack Wing. Before I moved to Texas, I kind of decided, well, I can keep X Wing or I can keep Attack Wing. And I think I like Star Trek as a franchise, as an IP better, at least real Star Trek, not the crap they're making now. Um, but I felt like X Wing was the better game, and it better integrated its theme. I always felt like X-wing, you got little starfighters flying around, was more interesting than these kind of capital ships doing the same thing, right? I liked Attack Wing; it was fun, but I ended up selling all my Attack Wing stuff years ago. Still have X-wing, still got Armada. Don't get them to the table nearly enough. I gotta play X-wing with my stepdaughter. She would freaking love that. Uh, I think War Room. Oh, hang on, where are we? What about Cosmic Encounter negotiation? You know what? Okay, that's the negotiation game I don't like. I never, I Cosmic Encounter was a game that I bought it, and Tom Vazel was talking about it. It was his favorite game for a long time, so I bought it, and then I bought like two expansions, and then I started playing it. I'm like, I really don't care for this game. I didn't think it was that fun or interesting, and I felt the negotiation was like forced. It was artificial. It wasn't a part of a game. It was the game, and it didn't work very well for me. I was not a fan of it. And then a few years later, so I think I sold it or gave it away. And then a few years later, FFG came out with like the Game of Thrones version, and I actually liked that one a lot better. But I think I ended up giving that one away too at some point. I think War Room TI4 and Game of Thrones Second Edition. I like it better than Diplomacy, which I love, but these games keep players in the game longer, where Dip eliminates players early. Yeah, no, fair enough. I agree with that. You need to play War of the Ring again. Confirmed. Yeah, I do. Fair. I admit it. I need to play it again. Did you watch the first two episodes of Starfleet Academy? Yet? No, I'm not. I'm not watching any more of Kurtzman Trek. I'm done. I watched the first two seasons of Discovery, and I got through the first one, and I wanted to like it. I like Jason Isaacs in it, and I'm thinking, okay, okay. Then I watched the second one. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. It wasn't good. Then I watched the first season of Star Trek Picard. I'm like, this is rubbish. I watched it to the end, and I couldn't believe how stupid overall the show was, but particularly the ending was. Never watched season two, and then everybody and their dog told me Star Trek Picard season three was good, so I watched that, and it was. I really liked season three of Star Trek Picard. That was awesome. It's better than any of the next gen movies. But I haven't watched any of the other stuff because what I've seen is it's not Star Trek. Star Trek isn't about spaceships and space battles and blowing up and CGI and you can't see anything. Yeah, you got a little bit of that in DS9, but that was never what Star Trek was about. And now you got me on the rant. Michael was it not Michael Piller? He's dead, but Berman and Ron Moore were criticizing New Trek because they're saying they're just talking like everybody talks today. It said Star Trek had its own kind of rhythm and its own cadence to the language they used, and they don't do that anymore in Star Trek. I don't know. I don't like modern Star Trek. If you like it, fine. More power to you. I don't want to watch that crap. I'm still waiting for somebody to come in, say none of that's canon. We're going to do some real Star Trek again. I really hope that happens at some point. We'll see. Kind of the same thing with Star Wars. They screwed up Star Wars. Anyway. Aside from Burning Banners, do you review games from Compass Games? Yeah, I've reviewed some games from Compass Games. I did Lamps Are Going Out. I did A War of Attrition, which is my favorite World War One game. I did Coalitions. Napoleon. I've reviewed a few here and there. For a long time, they wouldn't send me review copies, so I would have to buy them. But they did send me Burning Banners, and they sent me the Stellar Horizons, which I reviewed not too long ago. So they've started sending me stuff, and oh yeah, absolutely. They do good stuff. They do good stuff. Um, Still his number one game as of 2025 top 100 now. We'll see. Any tips for getting heavier games to the table for a group like War Room, Twilight Imperium, in regards to finding players and scheduling time? So yeah, if you're going to do one of these games, a War Room, a Twilight Imperium, uh, it's as much work getting that game scheduled and getting the logistics of it as it is actually doing the game. I've got a Facebook group with some friends where we play games together, and we can say, okay, who's available, who's available, who's available. So that's a very helpful tool. But you've got to commit. You got to set a firm date. You can't be vague. You can't say, oh, let's just do this some point. Oh yeah, let's do it at some point. You got to say this date, this Saturday, I'm free. Is anybody else free that day? And try to get as many people as you can, and then ask them, do you have any friends that might be interested if you need more bodies? And that's really how I get those games to the table more often than not. Let's see. Yeah, I get friends that are board game addicts for sure. I like the negotiation in TI and John Company. The negotiation feels less loose and tacked on. Yeah, I still haven't played John Company. I'm a little intimidated by John Company. Love your Star Trek answer. Keep the faith. I'm sorry, Cody. I've got to go cook dinner. Thank you for hosting this live stream. Hope to join you again soon. Appreciate all that you do. Thank you, Gibson Rick. Much appreciated. I loved War Room the first 3 times I played it. And then you didn't? Or did you just play it 3 times? It's great. I played War Room probably maybe 10 times, and I've had so much fun every time I played it. Absolutely love War Room. I know Ray played Red Dust Rebellion. Have you also played it? Yeah, we played it. We played it together a few times right after it came out for the review. And yeah, I liked it. But like I said, it's probably on my upper edge of complexity, and I actually gave it to Ray. He wanted to play it solo. I don't know if he has yet, but I gave it to Ray. So we'll see. We'll see if I get it back or he wants to keep it. But I don't know that I'm gonna get it to the table again. We'll see. Maybe I will. I know. Let's see. Then just before the 4th play, we found the massive flaw that just killed it for me. What is the massive flaw that just killed it for you? Hey, it's Ray. We played it a couple times. Red Death Rebellion, that is. Yep. Ray's joining us. Ray's online. Sorry, I didn't invite you over, Ray. This was kind of a last minute thing. I'm staring at War Room on my floor. Ugh, can I play this? What do you mean? Can I play this? It's like, yes, you get to play this. It is so fun. Gosh, War Room is awesome. It's really fun. Star Wars deck building game has become an amazing game for me and my 9-year-old son. Almost a perfect casual intro deck builder with new IP tactic. Yeah. In fact, earlier somebody asked me a couple of questions. We had the one about FFG and what they're putting out, and then somebody said what games aren't getting enough love. Star Wars deck building game. Star Wars deck building game is amazing. I love Star Wars deck building game. And then the Clone Wars version is good, and then the Mandalorian we just reviewed here recently is freaking awesome. I love, love, love the Star Wars deck building game. So fantastic. Yeah, I saw it was your wife's birthday, Ray. I wished her a happy birthday on Facebook, and happy birthday to her again. It is big. War Room is a big, big game, and it's a big, beautiful game. I absolutely love it. The flaw we found in War Room was that Japan has nothing to do but attack the Soviet Union. Really? You think so? I've come up with plenty for Japan to do. Japan can attack the Soviet Union. They get penalized, but they absolutely can't do it. But dude, if you go for Australia or India, I actually won a game once by taking India, and I captured the British, all their war production in India. So I disagree. I think Japan has a lot of strategies there and things that they absolutely can do if they want. Yeah, Star Wars deck building game is great, super snappy and fun. Uh, she said, "Thank you, excellent." I find War Room gets better the more you play. I find the variation of strategy options are so awesome. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I do too. I think there's a lot you can do and a lot way you can play this game. The last time we played it, we played the V2 version, and I was Germany. Ray, I think, was America, and he just brought his bombers to bear and ruined my economy, ruined my ability to move stuff throughout the board. It was tough, but it was fun. Um, did you back Imperial Borders from Larry Harris as well? No, we talked about Imperial Borders. I did not, but Nightingale Games have told me they will send me a review copy. Boy, I sure praised the hell out of War Room when that came out, so I think they were pretty happy with the publicity that gave them. So yeah, they said that they'll send me a review copy. So and they kind of told me that early on. So no, I didn't back it. If that if I didn't have this channel, if I didn't have the opportunity to get that review copy, I would have backed it 100% because it looks amazing. Um, I like the optional rule in A&A. Japan attacks Russia. They break the non-aggression pact, and Russia spawns 4 units. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I know. I know. In War Room, there's I can't remember what the penalty is. Like really hurts their morale or something if they invade the Soviet Union. But it can be a scary thing for Soviet Union or Japan to break that pact in that game. It is so much less luck based than A&A games in a meaningful way. You know what I love about War Room is the battles and how the battles you have tactical choices about. Okay, how am I going to allocate my air? How do I want to take a defensive or an offensive posture? I really like those choices you have in the battles. To me, that sets it right there. That sets it above AA quite a bit. TF4 and War Room have that in common, but don't you have to capture those victory stars? Yeah, but there's other ways to victory than just getting the stars, though. You can if you break someone's economy completely, there's a point in the game where you just say, "Yeah, I'm not coming back for that." One side says, "I'm not coming back for that," and that's game. War Rooms. I don't think War Room is a game that I've ever like played to the victory condition completion, but you get to the point where it's just like the other side isn't coming back. Like I said, this last game we played, I was Germany. I took Moscow, so I was in a pretty good position. But then I was crippled. I couldn't move anything out of Germany through rail. And the Allies, I think they'd already landed like in Denmark or France, and there was no way I was coming back for it. Even though I held Moscow, there's no way I was coming back for it. So the game was pretty much over at that point. Um, Dude, Larry Harris is getting old, man. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I've had some email conversations with him. I wrote a last year or 24. I wrote a uh, article for Board Game Academics, which was kind of about the evolution of wargaming and stuff like that. And he sent me a lot of great stuff in there, and he's just a super nice guy. Um, exactly, those tactical choices almost always feel meaningful. Always chose defensive on defense, and it makes naval battles at that scale more interesting than other games. I agree. The only victory star on the entire Pacific side of the map is Japan. Yeah. So Japan could do a lot of other kooky and crazy things and distract the United States while Germany goes in for the kill. With war games, did you start with Axis and Allies or Risk, or did you start somewhere else? No, it was Axis and Allies. I told this story, a lot on the channel. I was about 12 years old, and I heard my friend talking about it, and he was saying we built these factories, and so I built these tanks, and he was just talking about this game, and I remember thinking to myself, that sounds like the coolest game ever. And then it turned out my next door neighbors, who were about my age, also had it. And I started playing it with them, and I couldn't believe how much fun that game was. I couldn't believe I was like, this is the greatest board game I've ever. And so that really was my intro to wargaming. And I've said this before on the channel. That's why I have a PhD in military history today. I really think it started with Axis and Allies. Of course, I did play GI Joe when I was like 5 or 6, so I already liked military things. But I really think it was Axis and Allies that really sparked that interest in World War II. I said, I was looking at the map, and it was gray, Nazi gray. Europe was Nazi gray, and spring of 42. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, they nearly won. They nearly took over everything. And I thought, how did they get so far? How did they conquer so much? And then I was thinking, how did we stop them? And that's why I became a military historian. Maybe I should try it again. I think you should. It's a good game. It's a good game. I was about the same age when I stumbled across the Milton Bradley version of Access Now. It's changed my life. Yep, that's the one. I still got it up there. Probably never play it again, but I'm never getting rid of it. I recently picked up Navajo Wars from GMT for solo play, and man, after 100 games, this one I just did not jive with. So abstracted and stretch. Wow, you played 100 games before you realized you didn't like it. Wow, that's commitment. My dad got my brothers and I into board gaming and history with AA 1901. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we've been at this about an hour, guys. So I think we are just about out of gas. Oh, 100 other games. All right, that makes sense. Um, so I'm just about out of gas for tonight. Thanks so much, man, for tuning in, men. I don't think we had any ladies here. If we do, I apologize. But thank you so much. This is a lot of fun. I had a great night. Maybe I'll try to do this more. What is that? Am I an old? Can I transition teach before I retire? Is it too much of an uphill climb to qualify to teach? I don't know. If you want to put in the time, I had guys. I was working with guys who were in their 50s who were working on their master's degree and eventually got to their PhDs. I don't think it's ever too late. It's just, is that what you want to do? Is that it's a lot of work, but when I wanted to get my PhD, I was about 40 and I was selling cars at the time. And I said, I want to get a PhD, but it sounds like so much work. And a friend of mine said, it's no more work than selling cars. So it just depends on what you want to do there. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Listen, we'll see you again before too long. And may the force be with you. Keep gaming. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.